这2年，在世界各地蔓延的疫情，几乎彻底改变了我们对地理距离的认知。为了躲避病毒，人们禁足在家，国界也被迫封锁。自此，原本从新加坡飞行6个小时就能抵达的韩国，开始变得遥不可及。而滞留在当地的新加坡人，也被迫开启了漫长的远程天伦时光。这里是新加坡的什里达区。今天我约了一位老父亲见面，他和旅居韩国的儿子和孙子曾经在这里住了5年。就在这个屋檐下，一家人度过了许多温馨的亲子时光。
Morning, Mr. Amin. Hi, I'm Danny. Hi, nice to meet you. Hi.
今年69岁的阿 Min 是一名退休的电视台摄影师。虽然已届古稀之年，却依旧充满活力。2年前，他的儿子因为工作举家搬到韩国，这栋房子也因此租给了别人。今天，他顺应房客要求前来整修房子。
There's some leakage, then you have to clean something. Is the water there? The water go through there, right?
You're the supervisor, you're the foreman, you're also the inspector.
Yeah, of course. When I asked my son, he wants to move to Korea. I said, forget about all the problem back home. Anything about the house, I will look after.
偌大的房子，曾经温柔地接纳了阿 Min 一家4代人。如今人去楼空，一家人在此生活过的痕迹，却烙印在每个角落。阿 Min 承诺儿子会照顾这个家，或许正是因为想留住这些回忆。
I sit down here with my late mother there and make sure this place is no cars and my grandchildren can play here. Especially in the morning, the lighting is so good and cooling.
我可以隐约感觉到他是有一种渴望，希望有一天他一家人可以再回到来这个旧家，重新的在那里生活。儿子一家出国后，阿 Min 和妻子就搬到了红帽桥的旧房子，和小女儿同住，自己打点生活起居的各种琐事。然而，少了含饴弄孙的晚年生活，总是显得清寂又单调。但夫妻俩对于自己支持孩子出国的决定，始终不曾后悔。
My husband is more supportive. He said, "Go, go, go."
Yeah, I always persuade my children, your skill, your resume will be better off when you keep moving on. Improve your lifestyle also.
I do support, but sometimes I hesitate a bit because of the children, because the environment there all different.
阿 Min 的儿子 Rizwan 是物流科技专才，2019年被猎头公司发掘，到韩国电商巨头担任要职。这是千载难逢的机会，但 Rizwan 却陷入矛盾。一边是优厚的条件，一边是年迈的双亲，一边是憧憬，一边是担忧。他犹豫辗转，难以决定。
When deciding to take the job here was the very fact that my mom, my dad, my mom-in-law are generally still in good health. At the same time, we always worry, right? Anything could happen, and if anything does happen, the other consideration was South Korea is only a 6-hour flight away from Singapore, not terribly far away.
好不容易下定决心，谁知搬到韩国3个月，疫情就爆发了。2年多来，一家人在异乡几乎足不出户，更遑论回新加坡，唯有依赖视讯与父母通话。
Can you see us?
Hello.
Hi. Hello, hello Indah. Hello Naila.
Hello from Singapore. Hi, I'm Danny.
Hi, Danny. Nice to meet
Hi, Mr. Danny.
What's the weather like there now?
Cold, very cold. It might snow on Saturday.
Who's looking forward to snowing? Raise your hand. Yeah.
这种远距离的天伦之乐，两老已渐渐习惯。至少，他们还能隔空见证3个小孙子的成长过程。
Grandpa loves me.
Grandpa
Visits me. Grandpa plays with me. Indah, how much do you miss Grandpa?
100. 100.
Do you think your son would have decided not to go if he felt emotionally burdened?
Maybe, because actually he keep on saying, both of you are old already, you know. Sometimes we miss them lah. We miss, but we don't really want to show it to them because I don't want them to feel bad leaving us, you know.
I feel that your father is a positive presence, and your mum, she's a gentle force.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to put it. Perfect way to put it. Everything that I've done, I've gotten today is how they've guided me, all the advice they've given me. My father just is he just leads by example, right? Ever since a young age.
Yeah, he told me, he said he wants you to go all the way.
I miss them terribly. I'm so thankful. Yeah. My dad used to say, with hard work and a good attitude, can do anything.
带着家人满满的祝福和期待 ，Rizwan 一家5口于2019年11月在韩国安顿了下来。但他很快发现，现实并不如想象中美好。一个穆斯林家庭要在单一民族的韩国生活，一点都不容易。
I think myself and my family have been forced to adapt. We brought up things like language, brought up things like the ability to live as Muslims in this country where halal food is extremely difficult to find, right? And it's challenged us in many ways to adapt and evolve as individuals and as a family. Didn't you buy milk?
No, still a lot.
Rizwan 义无反顾的背后，除了有成全自己的父母，还有给予他全力支持的妻子 Huda。在新加坡 ，Huda 是一位职业女性，有自己的事业、朋友和家人。放弃一切离开新加坡，她已经做好归零重来的准备，只是还没来得及调整心情，生活上的各种考验又已排山倒海而来，叫她无所适从。
Dealing with all those feelings was really challenging for me because I had to be here for the kids because their kids themselves were adapting to life here, and I have wanted to make sure that I appear strong when they know that I was sad for leaving like my family and all, but I didn't want them to know like I was really depressed, like leaving my job, leaving my friends, and leaving my family there.
Huda 的父亲在他16岁时离世，母亲独自把他和哥哥妹妹拉拔长大，一家人的关系非常亲密。因此，即使到了今天，Huda依然无法适应分离。
I miss my family. I miss my mom, my sister. I miss a lot of things. It's gonna make me teary. I miss the togetherness that I feel like when I'm with them.
正当 Rizwan 和 Huda 疲于应对异乡的新生活，韩国又传出变种病毒扩散的消息，确诊人数还屡创新高。这个曾经他以为可以大展拳脚的地方，一时间沦为了巨大的牢笼。深陷在种种不确定的循环中 ，Rizwan 开始对未来感到迷茫。
If it keeps going on and there's new variants every 6 months, is this still the right thing that we're doing for our family? Or is it time to head home and potentially give our kids a more stable education, right?
在韩国，还有另一位新加坡人和 Rizwan 有着同样的遭遇。
I miss so many life events, so that has definitely affected me. It just feels like a very distant reality.
根据估计，目前大约有450名新加坡人旅居韩国。他们之中，潘训江已经在当地住了6年。训江经常到韩国各地旅游，并把照片分享到社交媒体，吸引了近2万名粉丝追踪。只是这些美好照片的背后，异乡游子又有哪些辛酸和难处？今天，我想借由视讯了解训江在韩国生活的另一面。
Hello, Dominic.
你好，你现在是在韩国哪里？
我在首尔。I live in Gangnam for 2 years.
How's the situation over there right now?
The cases are really high. Just today, it was 250,000 cases daily. But because it's not so severe, the number of severe cases is decreasing. So things are getting back to normal.
全世界的游子大概都一样，他们念兹在兹的，除了家人就是老家的味道。而训江最想念的是妈妈裹的粽子。
Just thinking about it.
Elevating my thinking about
Yeah, man, it was so good. She only sent me 3, and I finished it in a week. So, like, you know, I miss bacang.
Would you like her to send you some bacang?
I would definitely like it to be sent.
训江出生于小康之家，爸爸潘良印还在工作，妈妈黄祥平则已经退休。训江是家中老大，妹妹和弟弟都已成家。虽然3个孩子都不在身边，但训江的父母很懂得为自己安排，日子过得很充实。对于远行的孩子，一位妈妈能做的，往往就是把所有的牵挂都倾注到食物之中。得知训江想吃肉粽，训江妈妈前一晚就把材料准备好。今天我趁机前来拜访，一起帮忙她完成这份心意。
Irene 吗？
对，
我是君伟。
哎，我是 Irene， 对。来，欢迎，请进。
Dominic 的妈妈太年轻了。
会吗？
对呀。
会了。
然后这也是本来是挂衣服的。对。然后你就把它这样子安装了之后，就很适合包粽子了。
就是了，我是觉得是最好的，不要就拆掉了。
很专业，厉害。好，来你教我。
OK， 2片叶子。不要给它的那个糯米流出来。不要结实了。
训江妈妈包粽子的手艺是她10几岁时在甘榜和阿姨学的，所以有古早的味道。粽子的馅料丰富，糯米炒的咸香，大小刚好，吃多了也不腻。就是这个味道，伴随着训江长大，也成了他最深刻的乡愁。
我其他2个孩子， 不大喜欢吃嘞，只有短妹是最想吃的，最爱吃的。
他怎么说？
妈妈的味道，有妈妈的味道，
吃得到家里头的味道。
对对。
It's something that I've always loved as a child, and we don't have it in Korea. I think of it more than food. I think of it as like sort of love presents from my mom, because it's not stuff that she bought and sent over. It's stuff that she, actually spent time cooking, spent time buying the ingredients, and cooking and packing and sending it over to let me eat.
食物是不是你跟他连接感情的一种方式？
多多少少会有一点啊，好像那个中秋节的时候，我每次看到那个月饼呢，我就会想起他，因为他很喜欢吃月饼的。有一阵子我有寄月饼给他，呀。
你说端午节会想到要包粽子给他，
啊，
中秋节会想到要寄月饼给他，
对，
感觉好像就是接近节日的时候就特别想念到我们的，
对，好像吃火锅的时候我们也会想到他，
特别想念，
对，好像有点不完整的感觉了，好像他不在的时候。
为什么不完整
呢？觉得家人聚在一起的时候，他不在，就是整个家好像不完整的感觉。
那是这样吗？当我跟 Irene 坐得这么靠近，在厨房里头一起包粽子的时候，我在想 Irene 会不会希望坐在他身边的是他自己的孩子？我在想，我当时候可能就是帮着训江去做一件事情，然后可能也可以隔着这样子的一种时空，让母亲和孩子心连心。
试试看。
终于出炉了。
对对。OK。有点太小粒吧？会吗？
不会，我喜欢。
OK。
就是一口吃。
没有这么腻。有没有在家做的感觉？
我觉得你包得很扎实，所以我觉得这样子就不会吃得太腻，而且尝得到里头的所有的味道。
We have a saying like nothing beats mom's cooking, right? Nothing beats mom's touch. Yeah, it's just a nice taste of home, and like it's good to all the nostalgia about my childhood and time spent with her.
在游子心中，世间最美味的莫过于老家的味道。还好，韩国还能找到一些家乡美食，勉强让训江撑过了这些无法回家的日子。
Singapore chicken rice 하나 주세요.
네, 싱가포르 치킨 라이스 준비해드릴게요.
I come here every week, at least once a week. I miss Singapore food a lot. It's been 2 years since I went back, so I can't really find good, authentic Singaporean food in Korea. So coming here, gives me a sort of sense of home.
这家由新加坡人经营的餐馆，提供地道的新加坡料理，包括训江爱吃的海南鸡饭。当熟悉的滋味在味蕾上化开，那些身在异乡的孤独，仿佛就能暂时得到慰藉。
This is authentic, like this is legit Singaporean chicken rice.
6年前，训江在新加坡结识了韩国籍女友，就随她回国生活。可是不久后，女友就被派驻中国，而训江也只能留在原地，谈起远距离的恋爱。正当他还在努力适应异乡人的新身份之际，生命的转折却接踵而至。
So I was alone in Korea, waiting for her to come back. She didn't know when she was going to come back as well. So after 8 months, we decided it's better to separate.
训江在这里经历了分手，却没有把这片土地与悲伤画上等号。相反的，这里风景如画、四季分明的环境深深吸引了他，他决定留下来。
因为我们以为他过去是一下子而已嘛，没想到那个地方他觉得很 comfortable， 所以就在那边好几年了。
我是担心起初，我是觉得他一个人起住方面、饮食方面这些，我都不知道他吃得饱、睡得好。
一开始，训江没有朋友，也没有工作，独居的他什么事都要亲力亲为。他自己煮饭、烧水、做家务，就连离家的孤单，他都只能自己去面对。
I had to learn how to fix stuff. Sometimes I think we take our parents for granted because they are doing everything. You know, like cooking. Mom is always cooking. Dad is always fixing stuff.
纵然心疼儿子独身在外，训江妈妈也选择尊重孩子的决定，唯有不时通过简讯关切。偶尔，她也会在社交媒体上发文，分享自己的生活点滴，借此和儿子在虚拟的世界里互动。
所以 Dominic 也会看你的 Facebook 吗？
他有时会说 like。
你这么活跃于社交媒体，是不是也是跟 Dominic 保持联系的一种方式？
对，因为我也希望孩子们，特别是 Dominic，能看到我平常的生活是怎样的。哎呀，看到我的那个脸书，他们就知道啊，妈妈今天在做什么，去了哪里，吃了什么，还有什么活动。
远在韩国的训江也经常浏览家人的社交媒体，了解他们在家乡的生活。然而，他最渴望的依然是与家人同在一起的温度。
We can communicate virtually, so that's fine. But the physical aspect, I think I miss that a lot. Being able to hug my mom, being able to hug my dad, just hold my mom when she is crying after watching a Korean drama.
疫情下，断断续续的锁国措施已经迫使训江错失了许多和亲友相聚的重要时刻。他缺席了妹妹的婚礼，也无法在爷爷临终前与他做最后的告别。身在遥远的这一端，喜事无人分享，落泪也无人拥抱。这时，他才真正体会到离家的痛。
This pandemic has definitely affected me. I try not to think about it too much. There's nothing I can do in Korea. I'm so far away.
直到今天，全世界依然对这场疫情无所适从。Rizwan 也和训江一样，囚困于疫情之中。Rizwan 没有退路，庆幸的是，他还有家人。
It's brought my immediate family a lot closer together.
I'm so grateful that I am able to experience this now.
Rizwan 原本在新加坡一家物流公司任职。2年前，他被猎头公司挖掘，举家迁移到韩国生活。然而，作为单一民族国家，韩国给这个初次在国外生活的穆斯林家庭带来了很大的文化冲击。由于生活上的不便和疫情的限制，他们至今依然对这座城市缺乏归属感。
Definitely life here in Korea is not what I thought it would be. Being Muslims, food is a big challenge for us.
It was really challenging, finding stuff, buying stuff. I remember I wanted to cook something. I couldn't find the ingredients. I got frustrated.
So this is the market you usually come to? Yeah. Okay.
为了替远在韩国的儿媳提供清真食品的食材 ，Rizwan 的父母3不5时就会到巴沙采购，把来自家乡的味道、爱和关怀一并用包裹寄出去。
This is from my daughter-in-law. She needs some lontong
the keropok ikan, the asam.
Once in a while, my parents and friends will send goodie boxes, right?
Okay.
Instant noodles from Singapore, snacks like, you know, the typical snacks you grew up with from Singapore. Those little things really remind you of home a little bit.
My son always asks for like mee rebus, mee siam. Oh, there's authentic food from here, which is cannot get from there. So Huda has to cook.
I want to make the sambal ikan bilis, and then I also want to make jemput-jemput.
Jemput first or ikan bilis first?
Jemput-jemput first. No, ikan bilis first. Ikan bilis first.
Okay, I don't give you measurement, you estimate, okay?
Okay. I used to find cooking like a huge waste of time. Like you labor in the kitchen for hours for just like a 15-20 minute sit-down meal. But my jemput-jemput always flat.
Yeah, because too much water.
Too much water. Okay, I try.
过去在新加坡的 Huda 鲜少踏入厨房，一日三餐都由家婆打点照料。直到来了韩国，为了让丈夫和孩子解馋，她才开始下厨。遇到不懂的，就用视讯向妈妈和家婆讨教。
Can you try the jemput-jemput?
I used to miss Singapore food a lot, but Huda's becoming quite adept at her cooking that it's becoming less and less that I'm missing.
Yeah!
I've discovered that the kids really enjoy it, and it's our bonding time during dinner or during lunch. So I've like come to appreciate it. So I'm like more adventurous. I would cook like stuff they request to eat. Yeah. It's those things that make me stronger and really like made me better as a better mom, as a better wife.
为了顺应大环境，这个屋檐下的所有人都做出了改变，连小孩也学会了帮忙分担家事。2年来，几乎与世隔绝的生活，让这一家人成了彼此最强的后盾。
My kids have been raised with a silver spoon and have always had a helper, serving them, getting stuff ready for them. And I think this is a timely intervention to get my kids to be more independent and responsible.
我觉得 Rizwan 跟 Huda 去到了韩国之后，一改他们过去在新加坡的生活方式，家里头没有帮佣，所以孩子们其实反而让他们变得更加有能力去处理很多生活上的事情。Rizwan 和 Huda 其实可以放心的让孩子去学，因为他们自己也在经历着完全新的很多体验呢。
为了替孩子创造健康的成长环境，两夫妻付出了很大的努力，尤其是 Huda。他原本是个文静的人，来到这里，为了应付必要的社交，他主动改变自己，扩大生活圈子。他知道孩子珍贵的童年不该承受大人的焦虑，因此他从不在孩子面前表现出内心的懦弱。
As a parent, there was something that I'm always conscious of. How I behave, how I act in certain situations, they're always observing me, whether consciously or subconsciously. We shouldn't be afraid to try new things, and I want my children to be able to model that behavior, that they're always up for a challenge and they always will try.
Overall, I think everyone has grown. Being overseas has forced us all to evolve, and I think it's for the better.
不知不觉中，困境慢慢的变成了凝聚 Rizwan 一家的力量。而在适应新环境的同时，他们也没有忘记根本。
Having only ourselves to fend for or depend on in South Korea has meant that, Huda, myself, and the kids have become even closer and built a bond. It's definitely brought us significantly closer. I think the flip side is that many people have sacrificed to allow me to have this experience as well. And it's truly unconditional support.
Do you expect Rizwan to move back to Singapore?
For me, I think he got to stay longer overseas. Maybe move down to other part of the world, you know, to get more experience. So I think still a few more years. Then when you want to retire, then I think you can come back here.
I don't mind lah. For his own good, I don't mind. But if you are tired, you want to come back, that's your wish. We welcome you.
阿敏夫妇对孩子的爱是选择放手。过去他们一家人共度的幸福时光，都用相机定格了下来。而这些美好的回忆，也将伴随着两老度过往后余生每一个没有孩子在身边的日子。全家福对阿敏一家的意义格外珍贵。今天我就要来帮他们完成一张特别的全家福。阿敏夫妇很重视这次的拍摄，两人还特意盛装打扮。Your colors are matching.
Okay.
I say this is the best opportunity for me to get a very good picture of me and my family, and my loved one especially. And hopefully it will be very beautiful.
1, 2, 3, smile.
Not every day we can be together to take photographs. I think that's the right time to have a real photo together. A family portrait means togetherness.
Hey, Adon. Hello, Adon. Let's sit down and take
We've not taken a family portrait with his parents for the past 2 years. This is something we usually do for Hari Raya. Like every year, his father insists that we take a family portrait. So I think this is really meaningful, and a cool way to actually bring the family together.
And it's nice to see my mom and dad beaming and smiling, and yeah, just reminds me how much I miss them.
每一张全家福都记录了一个家族的故事，因此每一次的凝视都能感受照片中的情感流动。
给妈妈再靠近一点。
而这样的一张全家福，迅江的妈妈也已经盼了2年。
人生有点很难预料，可能现在也在，可能又不在了呢，很难说的嘛。
6年前，潘迅江为了爱情而来到韩国。虽然最后恋情没有开花结果，但他却爱上这里，决定留下来。回想当初，因为没有充分的心理准备，以致他在异乡生活吃了不少苦。
When I first came to Korea, I didn't expect there to be such a big cultural difference. Korea is more conservative, and they are more traditional when it comes to certain ways of thinking. It was very difficult for me as a foreigner to learn and to get used to.
从一开始，儿子为了爱情移居他国，到后来长期驻留，迅江的父母都100%的支持。身为父母，他们能给予孩子最好的爱，就是把孩子放飞，然后守在原地，默默追随着他们飞翔的姿态。
鲨鱼啊，假如是3尺哦，你放在一个6尺鱼缸里面呢，它就是不会长大，就是3尺。但是你把这个鲨鱼啊放在那个大海上面呢，它可能会长到6尺或以上。所以我感觉是好像新疆这样嘛，我们把它放它走。
我很欣赏爸爸说的那番话。 必须要让孩子在一个更大、更危险、更充满未知的地方去生活跟发展，那才能够完完全全的释放自己的潜能。
炫江也明白，自己的决定承载着父母许多的不舍，因此，即使感情的事不如预期，他很快就振作起来，努力去克服语言和文化障碍。他还考上了工商管理的硕士学位，并找到一份以旅游程序为业务的工作，更因表现优越，1年内从小组组长升级到行销总监。
I think being a foreigner in Korea and to work in Korean corporate culture is probably not that easy. I think that it's great that he's taking the initiative to get outside of his comfort zone, which is home, and then traveling abroad to find something that will help him grow.
他有很多正面的改变了，我觉得。除了比较独立，自己会照顾自己，理财方面也有进步，还有打理自己的事情也是比较稳重了，对。还有就是我觉得他也是对长辈们比较有贴心，比较有尊重，可能是因为融入那个韩国的文化吧。
I definitely learned how to be more independent. I definitely grew more as a person, being apart from family and not relying on them so much. And I try not to bother them about stuff. I try and solve all these problems on my own. And it's not easy. It's not easy, but it certainly is very rewarding when you actually solve them. And it grows a person.
炫江和父母给彼此的爱其实很像，就是努力过好自己的生活，不让对方担心。看着炫江一步步在异乡找到立足之地，变得独立自强，无疑就是黄祥平和潘良印最好的回报。不管孩子在哪里，他们都愿意成就。
我希望炫江以后能找到属于他的一片天地，希望他开心，到哪里都是我觉得开心是最重要的。他的快乐就是我的快乐，对。
随着孩子长大，一家人聚少离多，似乎也是必然。但在潘家，团聚依然是重要的核心。每2周一起吃饭，已经成了他们的默契。毕竟世事无常，每一次的见面其实都是倒数。
My food come already.
Hello.
My mom always made it a rule that every Sunday is family day. From young, no matter what we had, Sunday evenings are always family dinner time. So we keep this tradition up till now, even though we are like 6,000, 10,000 kilometers apart. Yeah. So this is how we keep in touch.
我非常能够理解炫江妈妈 Irene 她的一些坚持，她希望把每一次家人在一起的时候，都好好的珍惜那样子的一种时刻，同时也要记得那样子的一种时光。疫情当前，这样子的一种相聚时光，真的不知道什么时候会发生，能不能够发生。
每一次看似平常的晚餐，夫妻俩都很珍惜。正如过去聚在一起的每一刻，两人每次回顾，都还是感觉温暖。
我们去纽西兰，炫江应该是在大概12岁，就是 Lake Tekapo，beautiful。
他到那边的时候，他很高兴。
我还记得他说过一句嘞 ，Lake Tekapo，他说：“哇，看到这种风景呢，我只需要一本书，就坐在那边，我可以这样过日子。”
我发现拍照对你们来说也很重要。
对，
真的很多照片。
对，我小的时候也是这样。我父亲也是每年都要拍照。
在传统的华人家庭，家人之间往往都不擅长表达内心话。然而，只要走进潘良印和黄祥平的家，环顾各个角落，就能立刻感受到这一家人对家庭的重视。
比较重要的照片我们会摆在这里，
很多全家福哎，你们家？
这是我生的时候拍的，你看就是 Dominic 应该是站在这里，很遗憾他没有在。就是，
所以留了一个空间给他。
对对。
这些年来，炫江的缺席一直是炫江妈妈的遗憾，而我今天的任务就是要尽可能替她圆满这个心中的缺。
来，
今天小儿子、女儿和女婿也都全员到齐，足足等了2年，这一家人又以一种奇妙的方式聚在了一起。
喂，
撒样一下。我在拍他们的全家福的时候，Irene转过脸去看炫江的时候，他用手拍了一下他的脸颊，哎，
没有啦，想撒样他一下，
很自然、最直接的一个反应。看到自己的孩子的时候，可能就是想要拍拍他的脸啊，那是一种疼爱的表现。我觉得 Irene 的那个举动真的是希望能够感觉到孩子仿佛就在身边。 好，1、2、3，回张。
看到这种画面呢，很温馨的感觉。家人是最重要的，在一起的时候是最好的一个回忆了。人生有点很难预料，可能现在也在。可能又不在了呢，很难说的嘛。
I can actually see my parents getting older and older. It sometimes is difficult to see that and think that, you know, how long do I have left with them? How much time do I actually have left with them? If they live till 80, if I go back home twice a year, that means there's barely like 20 times that I can see them.
父母和孩子注定只能陪伴彼此半生的时间，父母只能陪伴孩子的上半生，而孩子只能陪伴父母的下半生。时间很残忍，疫情更是，但在炫江和Rizwan家，每个人依然想尽办法团圆，哪怕只是一次视讯、一个晚餐、一张合照，他们都希望一个都不少。人生终将是一场又一场的相聚和送别。被疫情困住的这2年，时间仿佛过了很久，却又似乎停滞不前。远方的人始终相聚无期，而这场疫情给我们的启示，或许就是聚散无常。在等待团聚的日子里，且让我们各自安好。直到久别重逢的那一天。